Welcome to the Emisarios Unidos de Luz channel. If you enjoy this near-death experience story, consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. Now, let's start with the story. Despite my family's efforts to instill the spirit of piety within me, I was never an enthusiastic or devoted Christian, and growing up, I questioned the value of religion and of religious beliefs. As a young adult, I came to my own conclusions about God, religion, and faith, and as a result, my beliefs were quite distinct and often contrary to the very Christocentric ones held by members of my family. In spite of our differences, we still shared a mutual respect for one another's individuality, as evidenced by the levity present during family get-togethers. My NDE occurred one afternoon, while I was asleep. During that time, while my body remained unconscious, I awoke to a state of hypervigilance in an expanse of utter oblivion and darkness. As I stared into the blackness, a bright light suddenly appeared before me, illuminating the expanse almost entirely. Immersed in that light, in that divine presence, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace and elation in an experience so vivid and real, yet so different from anything I had experienced in my 19 years. As the light illuminated my surroundings, I became aware that I was traveling through a tunnel with many other souls of whom I have since come to regard as my traveling companions, as we proceeded en route to a common yet mysterious destination under the auspices of singing angels. As we traveled, the angels sang songs that seemed to guide and motivate the travelers, reinvigorating their determination to reach the destination and making the journey a magnificent and awe-inspiring experience. Even as I listened to their song, I began to sense a force calling me from afar, and that call filled me with excitement, anticipation, and also yearning. Eventually, our journey through the tunnel came to an end as we arrived before the gates of a majestic building. While I remained at the foot of those gates, the souls who were my traveling companions passed through them to enter the building, and as they did, their clothes, as if by magic, instantly changed to white robes. Seeing their transformation, I realized that those souls were those of the recently departed, who were entering the kingdom of heaven. I also realized that if I was to pass through the gate, I would be saying goodbye to my life on earth, and for that reason, I didn't immediately follow them. As I surveyed the kingdom and the surrounding landscape, I noticed that flowers of various colors bloomed everywhere and that their petals shimmered with a faint white light. When I looked skyward, I was awestruck by the color, as its shade of blue was unlike any I had ever seen before. To my amazement and delight, I could feel that the most profound, powerful, and pure love imbued everything, and in heaven, I felt as if I had arrived at my true home. In the throes of my glee, a man suddenly appeared in front of me, and as I quizzically gazed at his smiling face, I realized he was my grandfather, who had passed away years before. My grandfather, along with my uncles who were with him, welcomed me, radiating unfettered love and heartfelt pleasure at my presence among them. Then, and for the duration of my sojourn in heaven, my relatives asked questions about my life in a way that revealed their genuine and deep concern for me and for my growth. After those initial exchanges of warmth and welcome, my grandfather gestured for me to follow him. Assenting to his request, I followed him to a place where sunlight pervaded the area entirely, filling it with warm light and compassion. In that place, I noticed a group of people standing silently around us, as if waiting for us to arrive. In observing their demeanor, I could see and sense their rare love and concern, as well as my familiarity to them. In the midst of those people, I saw a tall, kind man whose gaze reflected endless wisdom and compassion and whose presence filled me with peace, a man whom I have since come to regard as God. Even beyond the exchange of words, I could feel that God, in his unconditional love and acceptance, knew and understood everything about my doubts and the questions of my heart regarding faith and religion. Does having faith really matter? I asked him, my excitement at finally meeting him evident. My child, faith and belief in God have great significance in human life. It is a source of strength that allows you to face the challenges and difficulties of life, God replied. But how is it important? I pressed. Faith and the belief in God are the foundation of the Oversoul and the Oversoul's link to me. Through faith and belief, you are able to connect with the divine power and seek truth and meaning. Faith and belief not only give you hope and comfort, they also inspire goodness and integrity, he explained. There are numerous systems of belief and religions that exist in the world, and sometimes one set of beliefs conflicts with another. How is it that all beliefs can be correct? I asked him. My child, everyone's beliefs are unique, and there is no right or wrong, he replied. Can I find truth and meaning if I don't have a clear religious belief? I asked. My child, beliefs and systems of belief are diverse. You do not need to practice a specific religion, but whatever you choose to believe in, live your belief with an open heart. Truth exists within everyone, regardless of what form the system of belief takes. It is more important that you keep seeking the truth with an ever-kind heart, he replied. In hearing God's answers, I felt a deep contentment that all my questions of faith were finally answered. If you walk through the gates of heaven, you will be able to stay with us forever, my grandfather offered. Grandpa, I'm still a teenager, and there are still a lot of things I want to experience, like being a father one day. I also have a girlfriend that I don't want to leave behind, I explained to my grandfather after considering his tempting offer. Having heard my answer, my grandfather understood and accepted my choice. Young people should pursue their dreams and explore the unknown, he replied, smiling to show his support for my decision. People face many challenges during their lifetime on Earth. I hope you will maintain a positive mindset in the face of these challenges. Keep believing in your abilities, especially your capacity to overcome obstacles. Always pursue the fulfillment of your dreams, he said. My child, you have unlimited potential and strength no matter how rough the road ahead. You will not be alone, and I will always be with you. Our parting does not mean that we will be separate. Whenever and wherever you are, just take a deep breath and feel the peace within. My love and guidance will always be with you, God said in parting. As we said our goodbyes, my grandfather hugged me tightly. Suddenly, an angel with beautiful wings appeared beside me. As she extended her arms, we began our journey through the dimensions of time and space. As we traveled through countless galaxies and universes, a shining light, which I knew was the omnipresent light of God, was ever around us. Towards the end of the journey, I felt a powerful surge of energy invigorate me as my consciousness reconnected with my body. You have returned to your body. Remember God's words. His love will always be with you, the angel said before slowly disappearing. Back in my body, I quickly checked the time to realize that only 2 minutes had passed. Why did I die? I wondered, since I was young and in perfect shape. Despite the many questions the NDE left me with, it inspired me to think deeply about my beliefs. The experience taught me to keep an open mind and heart in my relationships and helped me to develop a deeper respect for the diversity of spiritual beliefs and religious practices. As I began to share my experiences with others and listen to their insights, I found myself drawing wisdom and inspiration from them. I realized that people's beliefs are diverse and that everyone has their own spiritual journey. Through self-exploration, I began to follow a path whose foundation is God's unconditional love. As a Christian, I hope my children will follow the same faith. Regardless of their choices, however, I will always respect them and their power of discernment. I also hope that through my example, they will understand the importance of faith.